Hey everybody, welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 610 being recorded on January 6, 2021. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath, and we had a cutout because things blew up on my end, but I said something really witty, so remember that.
Yes.
I'm Brett Van Spermberg, and nothing exploded here.
Yeah, but live viewers would have seen Josh's pithy commentary, which will be lost to the sands of time, and you can find out when we go live for events such as this podcast recording session by going to pcpro.com/subscribe to be put onto our mailing list that literally only tells you, is it plain text or HTML? I think it might even be a plain text email. That we're going to
there might be a touch of the HTML to it because I put some links in it and a list, but not a lot.
It's
not
pretty tame for list mail. There's not a bunch of pictures and stuff in it. And
very few.
You can go to patreon.com/pcper to support this nonsense. If you're so inclined. And Brett, I think we have an update from someone.
We do. I'd like to thank our latest patron this week, and I hope I'm going to get his name quite right because it's a little bit wordy to me. It might make some sense to somebody else here, maybe. What do you think? The name he wrote was Bazas with an apostrophe S, Sammy Note 2. What could that mean?
Earlier when we did this before, I suggested it was Samsung Galaxy Note 2. Note users are very loyal to their device. They love that pen.
Oh, that's got to be it.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah.
The occasional explosion is just fine.
I've never named my name from my phone.
No, it wasn't.
Okay. It wasn't the 2? Was it the 7?
Yeah, I think so.
It was the 7. Okay. Hey, after our intro every week, we go to Laramie, Wyoming. Visit with our own Josh Walrath, as I bring him up here. Well, you're going to talk about food.
You're not really bringing me up here.
Well, your image. I see you. I think everybody else does too.
Right.
Josh, can you walk us through this burger?
I sure can. It's unfortunate when they wrap it up because when they're actually served on a plate at the restaurant, they look a lot better. But, they wrap them up in the foil and it gets a little crunched down. But this is the All-American burger. It's 2 quarter-pound patties with smoked Gouda, Chipotle, ketchup, that special kind of mustard, bacon, all on a toasted sesame seed bun. It's really quite tasty. The flavors really complement each other nicely. Not as good as the mushroom burger that was last week. I forget exactly what that was, but that was also fantastic. But this one was right up there, and if you're in the mood for something new, and it's a good one to get. And of course, the fries were perfectly done and lightly seasoned, making for a scrumptious lunch that keeps me filled up for the next 24 hours. Take that, fasting.
I think I owe you $5 on calling the seasoned fries, right? I think we bet that.
Yes.
I don't think we bet money. I refuse to acknowledge that.
It might not have been a money bet. Crisp or non-crisp bacon? Everybody wants to know.
They're crisp, so it wasn't stringy. But
I made my money back.
Some people like, I like a little bit not as crisp, but it still was quite tasty.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, let's move right in seamlessly to our first news story of the week. This is going to be kind of a lighter week. It's pre-CES. We're on the eve of CES, which itself starts on the eve of CES because that's when you start having this year it'll be virtual meetings, and we're already getting press releases and stuff in under embargo. So it's all coming. There is a CES. It's just all virtual this year. But before all of that, we're podcasting because it's Wednesday, and there is some news of AMD's new GPU architecture and maybe following that Ryzen path, Jeremy.
Or what NVIDIA is planning on doing with their next generation of chips reportedly as well.
Yeah.
But bringing sort of a chiplet design makes a hell of a lot of sense. The problem has been that it introduces a stupendous amount of latency until recently, where we've got proper interconnects on the chips, which will allow it to work perfectly well. And especially in the case of AMD, several generations of experience where we've gone from a really fun initial launch, which had its issues, especially with the Threadrippers with only 2 CCXs in it, to what we've got now with the current generation of Ryzen, which doesn't show any of that sort of issue whatsoever. So it's going to be interesting to see if they really do push this, because, among other things, one of the people that was looking at it, that spotted the patent on freepatents.com, did some back of the napkin computation to say that it looks like they'll be able to increase yields by around 10, maybe 11%, because instead of having big monolithic chips on the wafer, you've got a bunch of really small ones, and so you can fit more physically on there. Not to mention the fact that it's not such a great loss when one or two of them don't come out the way you'd want them to. And then the other fun thing about it is that because these guys, the chiplets are going to sort of behave in a way like a field programmable array, so they can be changed for what they're going to do, which is big for the high performance computing that we're seeing with deep learning and AI and the stuff that NVIDIA has just, run away with, and AMD hasn't really had much in the way of competition for it. So it'll be interesting to see if this patent, because that's all it is right now, is a patent to say this is the design that we've got, is going to come to fruition in the next generation or two, or more likely 3, and just what that's going to mean to the market and for us. Josh, you got any thoughts on it?
Yeah, chiplets kind of are the future for a variety of applications, and it certainly makes sense. But yeah, your latency is always going to go up when you go into a different interface like this and have to rely on FIFO buffers and whatnot, get the data across, and it just is, it's physics getting in the way. Big wires, long wires, as compared to micrometers in the GPU. And it's, we're going to do it. AMD has, kind of, I wouldn't say revolutionized, but they have made it mainstream with a solid chiplet oh gosh, how come I can't think of words right now?
Scenario design power?
No, it's not it. I'm thinking more of anyway. They're with just how they're doing things overall in terms of what Ryzen has been able to bring to the market and how well they've executed on it and how well it works, even though it is a chiplet. And we have seen in the past, getting 2 chips together over hypertransport and other type of, kind of not glueless multi, but you know what I mean. That Intel did it with the Pentium 4 GTL Plus bus. I can't remember if that's correct or not. It's been since 2004 since we saw that implementation. Yeah. So, GPUs are certainly an area where this would be very beneficial because they're all large die sized units. These huge monolithic dies that are harder than average to manufacture and to get good yields and bins on. And as we're seeing right now, the whole supply chain on GPUs is jacked. And if they could alleviate some of this by being able to do smaller chips and be able to integrate more on a substrate and still get very, very good performance and scaling, that's a huge win for the industry and for consumers and for AMD. So we'll see if they can actually execute on this.
Were we going to talk any more about the patent, or should we move on to some more chip-related rumor / potential new product? That's more than just a patent.
Even look through here. AMD.
Okay, well, we'll wait while Josh reads the show notes. That's fine.
This is going to be funny.
What?
January 12th. NVIDIA's having an announcement.
Yeah, I saw that.
Games, technology, more.
Maybe more.
Something else you can't buy?
Well, yeah.
Something else you can't buy. Yeah.
The games part is probably fine because you can buy games.
Yeah, I mean, Steam. I mean, you wouldn't download a car, would you? But I'll download my games from Steam.
That's right.
They'll always give it to me if I give them the greenbacks.
Next news story.
Another hot leak.
Yeah, very hot, potentially. We don't know.
Super hot.
We don't know, because
Spicy chip.
I will say, if you have power limits enforced, the current generation of Intel desktop processors they're not all that hot. It's just because they all ship on, you're using boards we talked about this last week. Let's just get to the story. Intel Core i9 11900K, because why not? Why not just add more numbers to the 10,000th place? Or wait, that's the 1,000th place.
Sure.
So yeah, it's going to be a power hungry and hot chip according to WCCF Tech here. And the part that's interesting to me is that I'm seeing it either confirmed or rumored that these are just going to run on Z490. And in fact, people have been testing them and leaking screenshots of them running on Z490 boards.
Yeah, it seems pretty close to confirmed that these newer chips are going to run on Z490. The other interesting thing I got out of this article, which might be obvious in retrospect, is that their IPC appears to be up in comparison clearly to the previous 10th generation, but also equal to or bettering AMD's in single-thread performance based on this article, but still very much losing in multi-core. They're dropping 2 cores. And if you bring up the article again and scroll down to a picture of the 2 chips side by side where they have them outlined, scroll down and take a look there. They're outlined in some color. I don't remember. They're side by side. There they are. So you can see they've actually had to take up more real estate. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Josh, but I think they had to backport their 10th generation micro architecture to 14 nanometers, and it just physically takes up more room.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. So you can see
They had to do lots of different tricks to get that to work.
Yeah. But they were so much after that IPC improvement that their new micro architecture had given them, and they had to put that on a process that they could actually, produce, in mass. So they essentially backported that to 14 nanometers, and you get what we have here, which is 2 fewer cores. And that's, in case anybody's wondering, why are they 816 again instead of like the 10th generation i9 1020? That's kind of the reason. So they give on one hand IPC improvement, going after single core performance, probably going to be very good in games, but they're a little bit losing out. It's very close. I think there's a comparison discussion in this article against the 5800X. I think they may be a little bit better than that. If you bring it back up and kind of scroll through that, I don't know if they mention it. I think they're a little bit better in I think the Cinebench Pass seem to be a little bit better. Is that a 5800X? 50? That's a 59.
The 59.
Yeah, you'd expect that one to be better.
This is R20. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, our Cinebench R20. Mm-hmm.
So it's a performance regression in multi because, of course, the fewer core count. But the single core, it looks like they're getting their crown back in single thread.
Yeah, that's it too. Yep. So you can see where their priorities did lie on this.
I assume that means that there will be a focus on gaming performance again. A lot of 1080p gaming benchmarks, that sort of thing, to show how. And then, of course, there's the total platform experience thing, which is not insignificant. But yeah, if you're just churning away at rendering something, you're still going to be way better served getting a AMD processor right now. But if we're talking like desktop platform, basic compute tasks, gaming, single thread will make a big difference. So we'll see.
Yep. And certain workloads get more cores, other ones, single thread wins a lot of them. What was the power limit? What was the total power? They sent, I think it was 225 watts or something, or they say up to 250. I thought it was just below just below that. Default loads, Cinebench R20, hovering around 77C.
Oh, I see.
Sipping. Did they use the word sipping and 225 watts in the same sentence?
I think that's sarcasm, but yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're going to give them the benefit of sarcasm there.
Before you, the last sentence in there, just one more. I know. Intel Rocket Lake CPUs be shipping months after the 500 series boards that will be available January 11th. That was kind of the last little interesting bit there. Months.
Announced at CES, but hard launch plan March, April. That is unfortunate, but you know what?
Yeah, remember when all the rumors came out that Q1 2021 Intel's and we're like, yeah, that's not going to be until March. No, it's going to be January. It's like,
no, not really.
I'd rather wait and have availability than have it launch and then have absolutely nothing available anywhere outside of like two partner companies.
I think one rumor that I did read was that I don't know whether they're going to be enabling PCIe 4, kind of like the AMD trick, PCIe 4 on 400 series boards like the Z490. That's a question.
But hey, I've got a Z490 Tai that says it's ready for 11th gen PCIe 4 on the box.
I agree. I agree with you. Now, I don't know who the manufacturers are. I don't know who they are, but I have heard that very soon, if not in beta now, are BIOS updates, board updates that is enabling the Z490s will be first. I did read that. Enabling next gen 11th gen Intel on Z490 chipset.
That was nice of them.
Yeah.
If it works.
And that was what that article you just had there was talking about.
Indeed. You know, we are breezing right along. We're only at about the 18-minute mark of our recording here.
It was my special
This
request.
this is when we sing the Muppet Show. Moving right along, going a mile a minute.
No, that's pretty good. We're risking copyright infringement because that impression was so spot on.
That was so good. You should hear my Rainbow Connection. I think you probably have before.
We have once or twice.
Yeah, that's...
You should put out an album.
It's now passe.
Okay. But you know what isn't passe? Moving to... Let's not use that ad break.
Camelot?
Camelot, yes. Conquest of Camelot.
Camelot.
Tis a silly place. Hey, we have a sponsor this week, so we should pause right here to hear from ExpressVPN.
How do you choose which internet service provider to use? The sad thing is, most of us have very little choice because ISPs operate like monopolies in the regions they serve. They can use this monopoly power to take advantage of customers with data caps, speed throttling, and the list goes on. Worst of all, many ISPs can log your internet activity and then sell that data to other big tech companies or advertisers. To prevent ISPs and other bad actors from looking at my internet activity, one of the most useful tools I use is ExpressVPN. So what is ExpressVPN? It's a simple app for your computer or smartphone that encrypts all your network data and tunnels it through to a secure VPN server so that ISPs cannot see any of your activity or anyone else on the local coffee shop network for that matter. Just think about how much of your life is on the internet. Sadly, every site you visit, video you watch, or message you send gets tracked by ISPs or other tech giants who can then sell that information for profit. That's just one reason I can recommend ExpressVPN as one of the best ways to hide your online activity from your ISP. Installation is super easy. Just download one of their apps, and after installation, tap one button on your device, and you're protected. And ExpressVPN does all this without really slowing down your connection. That's why it's rated the #1 VPN service by CNET and Wired. Even before ExpressVPN was a sponsor, I had personally recommended their system for friends on the go so they could administer their e-commerce stores and send emails without being blocked, and it worked great. Saved the day for them, really. So stop handing over your personal data to ISPs and other tech giants who can mine your activity and sell off your information. Protect yourself with a VPN I can trust to keep my data private online. Visit expressvpn.com/PCPer. That's expressvpn.com/PCPer and get 3 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/PCPer right now to learn more.
Thank you, ExpressVPN, and, well, Brett, for that fine reading. I don't know if it was any good. We haven't heard it yet.
It's going to be great.
What can't you do with a Raspberry Pi 4? I don't know if you've seen that little retro console that uses a Raspberry Pi 4 board. Cannot remember the name of it right now. What is this? Something about the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, I mean, you'd figure that the Nintendo Switch would have some way of gaming from the cloud. I mean, the whole damn idea of it is it's mobile, right? You'd be wrong. It doesn't. But thanks to...
You're wrong.
Thanks to, because Adafruit put out the Trinket MO a while ago, and it's specifically designed to interface with Switch controllers and let you either change how they behave, emulate one, add extra stuff to it, get rid of the issues that some of them develop. And so in this case, he used one of those in combination with a Raspberry Pi that's sort of hooked up to HDMI video capture. they plugged the dock that you get with your Switch in through this Raspberry Pi. It uses the video encoder to capture it, streams it up to the person who developed this, Stan Dimitrov, works for a company called Surrogate TV, who happened to be a streaming service. So he asked them, is it possible if I could fool around with this? And apparently there's not really a charge for it, but you have to sign up to get a hold of the Surrogate TV dev kit to be able to play with this on your own. And there's talks about that becoming just open over the course of the year. A good way to get people to move to your platform is to give it to them for free and let them play around with it. So what he's figured out is a way to stream from the dock to the capture, up to the Surrogate TV, and out to his controllers. Now, you don't want to be playing Twitch games with this. As you might expect, there's a wee bit of latency, somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 milliseconds. So if you're playing a casual game, it's probably not going to drive you utterly and completely insane. If you're trying to play something that's a little more fast-paced, well, you're going to hate it or yourself very, very quickly. So it's not perfect, but it's a fun little thing to try out.
I like how relaxed titles was mentioned. So if you're not, and really, if you're playing a turn-based strategy game or
turn-based, yeah.
I mean, does Pokemon still use turn-based combat?
Not a clue.
Okay.
I believe it does. I think I've seen it recently, and I think it does.
Well, that's interesting. What is our next story, as I'm totally unprepared here? Okay, so that was actually it for regular news. Yeah, Brett, please introduce this section.
The whole thing is bracketed in by forward-looking pieces from or for 2021. Last week, we looked backwards about what tech news that we found interesting or particularly nauseating about 2020. So the point of this was to highlight a few stories and maybe a couple of personal insights into what's coming in 2021, such as this first story that Jeremy wrote up on a new potential, is this the shooter of 2021? It might be, because 2021 is really only a few days old. So would I go out on a limb and say, yeah, you're probably right. This is the shooter of 2021.
So far, although it's already pissing people off because it was supposed to be out earlier than, now, and then it was delayed until February, and now it's been delayed again until April 1st, because why wouldn't you pick any other date than April 1st for your
that's not
delayed game to come out on?
That's not a good idea.
Somebody said this is a brilliant idea and we should go with it, and they did. So there you go. So it looks fun. It's People Can Fly and published by Square Enix, so could be quite interesting. Skip the ad. I thought this was what the game was first. And said this
I was like, wait, what is this?
Not interesting. It looks pretty. A lot of pre-rendered stuff, but you're gonna get a free demo on February 25th for anyone, not pre-purchasers, not some sort of closed beta or an open alpha. It's actually going to be a couple of hours long demo. It's a cooperative multiplayer, sort of like Destiny, hence the title. So you can play 1, 2, or 3 people, and 4 different classes with the RPG elements as they get in different powers. And it seems to be a mix of sci-fi run and gun with some interesting sort of magic powers on it. They're not really telling much about the vehicles, so I don't think there'll be vehicular combat, but there'll probably be a part of the game to get you around. But, from the little bits that they actually managed to bother to show, it looks like it's going to be a pretty one, and it'll be out on everything. So, and you'll be able to crossplay. So if you got a friend with a PlayStation, one with an Xbox, and you with a PC, you'll be able to go for it. So this could be a big one. This is a very popular style of game, and Square Enix tends to know what they're doing when they put things out.
It didn't dawn on me until you said Square Enix, and I was like, standalone, demo. I'm thinking of the last 3, I think, Final Fantasy games. They've released a standalone benchmark. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if they will have one for this, which would be great, because those are, highly customizable Anybody can
Very
download them for
handy.
free.
Automated.
Automated, so they're consistent. They're always exactly the same. There's no variance, I don't think, in any of them. But
Hey, this looks
interesting.
fun. Looks genre crashing together. I like the look of it.
They typically implement NVIDIA features like Hairworks and that sort of thing. So I wonder if this will be like a DLSS game or not.
Is
It looks
this
busy
like
enough.
Anthem 2.0? Or is it
Yeah, a little bit.
3.0?
I don't know. It looks like it might have
Think they're
character
up to
development.
3 now.
Did I say that? I didn't say that out loud, did I?
Yeah, if you zip. Well, it's got a skill tree. So
Look,
if that's character development for you.
Well,
All I really care about is Final Fantasy VII Remake, so I need part 2 of that. I know it's not coming. It won't be in 2021. They're still probably in the planning stages. And I'd
And
love to
besides,
see...
if they do, it'll just be the second DVD.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be like 5, I bet. They'll just keep milking it. I really, really liked the first one, and I want to see it on PC. So I can like crank up the settings and make it look better. Maybe they'll fix some of the texture problems. What else? Oh, you know what? PCIe Gen 4 SSDs. That's something we can look forward to this year. We talked about it last week. You can actually buy storage right now. So, you can't, well, not necessarily, if you have an AMD
You may not be able to buy a CPU that will run it, but
Right.
right. You can feel good about
But
having
isn't
this
that
on your
Now the
shelf.
3600s and the 5800s and the 5700s are coming back in stock. You can actually buy those. And the 50, no, sorry, the 3900 and 3950. They're
Okay, I was
on
going to say.
sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. No, the 5000 series, yeah, you can't get a hold of them, but the 3000, you can now do it again. So
Gosh, wasn't this this Sabrent 2 terabyte one a pick of yours like the last week or a couple weeks ago?
I don't know. I mean, I've got one that I still haven't even
hold on.
installed here yet, but yeah, they're good apparently, and they run, and so are the SN850s, and so are the Samsung 980 Pros. They're all very, very similar in overall performance, and a pretty significant jump across multiple workloads than the older PCI 3.0 stuff, and certainly a nicer jump. Nicer jump
Ignore the arm.
from the first generation 4.0 stuff. So
These
Look at
synthetic results are great. Like their response time is second only to the 980 Pro with, I'm assuming this first column is reads and the second one is writes. I'm not really sure here. Game copy. I mean, if you just look at reads and writes up here, it's at the top of the charts. They're very, very fast. Samsung's 980 Pro is not going to be as fast in straight line speeds, where they're going to probably have an advantage as more of the like 4K random, more like real world type stuff, the way they tune their firmware. But these are like monsters. This Rocket 4 Plus will be hard to beat this year.
Well, we say that now.
yeah, and there's not a huge premium on them either. So I mean, there is a premium, but not like what Samsung has done in the past.
So that was sort of the biggest thing in between the biggest difference between the two drives is Sabrent's was about 20 cents a gig at a terabyte and above, and Samsung was about 23.
And Dave in the chat says, don't they default back to supported speeds? Yes, I'm sure they're all PCIe 3 compliant, but at that point, you're spending a lot of extra money, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not going to be faster than, say, a 970 Pro or Evo at Gen 3 speeds, where you have the advantages of those higher straight line speeds. Everything else, like the random and the real world type usage scenarios, you're not gaining anything by buying a Gen 4 drive, except for you're future proofing yourself, I guess. But
Hey, if I could interrupt this this
No,
podcast.
no.
Maybe just
I'm
briefly,
interrupting
just
you.
one.
right,
Okay,
Brett,
all right, you can do
fine,
that.
number two.
All right. We just got a new patron right now, like seconds ago.
Ding, ding,
And
ding.
Their name, their ding. You know, we should have a dinging bell or something now. Their name is interesting.
Kind of want to lie you?
No, but that's a
No?
good name.
Okay.
Keep that in your back pocket. Whip that out when you're ready. It's $199, $299, $399, $499. But you saw that coming.
$4.99. Thank you.
$499. Thank you.
Thank you.
Numeric dude. We love you, man.
That is nice.
There's a opportunity to ask Josh anything. It's kind of like an AGA or AJA, right? So jump on the Discord, send something to Patreon, send a note to us through the website, whatever, do some posting, and we'll have Josh give you his thoughts on something that only you have come up with. And he'll probably talk right to you and kind of look you right in the eyes as he's saying it. It'll be very intimate. So if you could just do that.
Wait, are we talking about the mailbag or something even more personal?
Well,
What you got?
maybe the mailbag. The mailbag would be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do that.
Make it like PG. Try to keep it family friendly, I guess.
Yeah, they've got to put more money in his elastic band in order to get the personal touch.
Mm-hmm. Well, that stuff wouldn't go out on the public channel anyway.
No, it would not.
It's all private stuff. It's all encrypted.
I mean, the
like
elastic
Snapchat.
band in my fuzzy pants, my comfy pants is also, not. It's not going to hold up a whole lot of cash anyway. So
Well, you have to put a big roll of hundreds in there.
Yeah, but then the weight would just drop down the pant leg. Now, do
And
they
we
have
don't
like
have
shake it
for
out
that.
like I was on the golf course.
Do you have cuffs
Like I said.
on your? Are these like sweatpants with like the elastic cuffs
No,
around your
no,
ankles?
it's open bottom. So
Oh, they're open bottom. That's okay.
yeah,
Modern man.
fleece pants. Yeah,
Wait a second. Hang on. Yeah, you never know where this is going to happen. This podcast you never know what's going to happen. We just had somebody up their pledge to Josh Personal Zone.
Uh oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Now he's gotta get busy.
My message is Nori. Sebastian, Nori has a 6900 XT Red Devil for review. Yes, it can. That can be your message exactly, because that's what I just said.
Yeah, he sent me a message earlier. I was just like, "Wait, is that a reference card?" He's like, "No, it's the Red Devil." I'm like, "Oh, wow, it's
The Red Devil. Yeah.
It's a monster."
Which makes it's like this wide.
Yeah, it's. I don't even know how many slots it is if you actually were to measure it.
Also
It's-
good for fishing for tuna.
It is. If you turned it sideways, you could strain krill through its giant blue whale style grill. Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
No.
So yeah, thank you, Nori, and that'll be a personal message from Josh at that pledge level.
Oh,
I feel like
wow.
I'm running a telethon.
The Realme. I'm just moving us along. The Realme 7. I read this originally as 7.5G. The Realme 7 5G. It's mobile value for everyone. I see how the Register has their own site on the phone. That's clever. See what they have to say about this.
Yeah,
This is-
people
how
like to
cheap
promote
is this?
themselves.
Well, that's
Just
it.
under $300.
Okay.
Yeah, cheap 5G.
Yeah. But 6.5 inch, 1080 by 2400 at 100 hertz refresh. Although if you want to save battery, you can crank that down. It doesn't really have anything special. It's got a decent camera, relatively basic interface, 500 or 5000 milliamp hour battery, so not huge, but at the same time, the idea for this thing is you give it to someone who just doesn't need a bloody flagship phone. You give it to a teenager that's gone through their third phone of the year, and you're not going out and starting up a new thing. You give it to a parent who's just bloody well using it as a phone, and occasionally scares you by texting you. It's decent. There's cheaper ones out there, but for this, it's not a bad idea. And right at the heart, you've got MediaTek Dimensity 800U, which translates to 2 ARM Cortex A76s and 6 Cortex A55s, with the Mali G57 for graphics. So, it's a couple of years old, more or less, except with new technology. And really, for what a lot of people need, it does everything that you need it to. So, you don't have to run out there and buy something fancy.
I don't understand
The point is,
complaint
in
about
2021.
the screen.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
I was just saying that they were complaining a lot about the screen because it's IPS. Like, there's nothing wrong with an LCD display. I take issue with the fact that they say it suffers from, like, color fidelity is an issue on LCD screens.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Who knows?
LCD screens have superior color fidelity technically to pentile-based AMOLED screens because you're using an RGB stripe. But anyway.
Which are often available at that 200 and something per dollar price point.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. You're going to have to make some sacrifices.
What was that? What was the technology? Was it Pentile that Samsung came out with the S3?
Yeah.
That had all the people up in arms about how it looked like crap, and it kind of did in ways, but yeah.
I didn't like it. It looked kind of green to me, but
Yeah.
it's because I believe the pattern is such that two blue and red subpixels have to share one larger green subpixel. So they can have kind of a green cast, especially off axis, but it saves energy.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, two things. Wait, before we move on, two things. The one, this is supposed to illustrate the promise of 5G, along with the next link as well, is that it's finally coming down in price for nicely featured feature phone, to reuse the word. But anyway, that was in 2021. Expect to see a lot more of that. The second thing, the second thing here is you guys must be showing a lot of leg this evening because Matthew Marshall just became another patron. Just got the email on that. Thank you, Matthew Marshall. So this particular posting that you just had up there is a discussion on whether 5G in 2021 will finally live up to the hype. We haven't really gotten as much 5G everywhere where everybody lives. So hopefully the rollout continues and that everyone can begin to enjoy 5G speeds, especially in places, and I actually live in a county where not everybody can even get high-speed wired internet. So only the high population centers can get it, and I'm not that far outside of Washington, D.C., honestly. So you'd think this is a pretty wired area of the country. I do have gigabit internet here, so it's not that there's certain places you can't buy it. You can, but there's a lot of people who are like outside of town, and it complains about it a lot. They've got to buy satellite, or they got to buy some hybrid solution or stuff like that. So the promise of 5G is looking pretty good for a lot of people. So that's what I want to put out there is to say, I hope 5G, the hype delivers in 2021 for more people in more areas.
We don't have consistent 3G in this country. You
I
cannot.
was thinking 5G. Whenever I hear that, do you know the show The Colony? Mm-mm. And the rich people are driving the rich car down the highway, and it's got the big walls, and you got all the crappy houses outside, but they're driving through this pristine thing in a nice car. That kind of reminds me of 5G. Nobody regular really has it or has a use for it, or it's just one of those things. I don't.
It's.
We've been just surrounded by 5G for the past 5 years, and that's all they've ever talked about, and all how it's going to make your life better. And
but it's not. It's
I
not
can
out
see
there
how
yet.
it will do it, but it's just not. It's like they promised the moon, and they've delivered a silver earring. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's got a moon
not a
shape
lot yet.
Yeah.
What is it going to do to enhance people's lives? If you're surrounded
it's
by
assuming that everything is going to be IoT.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
But if you're surrounded by IoT devices, like the biggest problem with those is going to be ultra low power. I'm sure by the time 5G is prevalent, there'll be ultra low power 5G chips. So all their IoT devices can be 5G enabled and have ultra low latency talking to each other. But
So my fridge can tweet to the toaster quicker.
yeah, it's so that
Good.
so that you can be surveilled
Start warming
more
up that
effectively.
butter, baby.
So that my refrigerator can tell me how often I've opened the door.
Right. Your refrigerator door is not fully sealed, Brett. Please open and reclose.
This
your
week, you
refrigerator door.
stood in front of the refrigerator without taking anything out for a total of 38 minutes.
You've had enough beers. No more.
Right.
No.
That's the four.
No, you judge me.
Yeah, 5G faster than Tesla
You
satellite
weird.
internet. Yes, I think. I mean, 5G. It's like a brand name, but there's multiple ways of delivering 5G. There's multiple. You can do like microwave technology. You can have, I think, like blanket Wi-Fi. You can do multi-stream, basically like multi LTE streams, whatever the technology is. But it's just, it makes me annoyed just to think about the fact that I can't drive even from one side of my own state to the other without losing service in at least a couple of places along the way. And there are people concerned about 5G now. Just give everybody gigabit fiber and have the world blanketed in 3G before you worry about 5G.
Yeah. What he said.
Hey,
Power to the people.
speaking of negativity and angry ranting, let's move on to the next topic. When will insert tech product here, GPUs, consoles, actually be available? When is that going to happen? We're in 2021.
Josh,
Remember, the year changed.
Josh. Yeah.
Now suddenly,
Everybody said, wait for the next year.
yeah,
It'll happen.
2020 is
Josh,
finally over.
Josh, you were just talking.
You know, I think that by the end of January, we're going to see some things be in better stock. I really do think that AMD CPUs will be pretty much mostly available. It's not going to just be the 5 or 6 combo drops at Newegg. I had a tweet about that one. You feel lucky. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there are 5 or 6 combos. I lost count in all the excitement. But anyway, yeah. GPUs are still going to be pretty rare, but we're going to have more drops from like Newegg, and hopefully see actual stuff on Amazon that'll stay up for more than 5 minutes. But it's that the whole chain is just still hammered, and demand is. I know people would like to say that it's mining doing all the problems, but it's a part of the problem, but it's not the whole thing. They're just. I've talked to people from other companies, and it's all kinds of stuff down the line. And so getting one component consistently so you can run a line is just next to impossible. Not quite impossible, as we see Newegg had another drop tonight that lasted all of 0.3 milliseconds. If you were lucky enough to refresh at the right time and hit add to cart without everything crashing. But it's you're going to have to wait until the end of January and into February until you can start seeing these things on a more regular basis. And it's really sad to think that NVIDIA had released their 3080s in September, and you still can't get a hold of them 4 months later, not to mention even the smaller and larger variants.
Here's my concern.
I'll just throw this out here since Newegg doesn't even give a way to do it. They allow certain people like NGE Technology, which currently will sell you an RX 6800 XT on Newegg Canada for $1,750.
Huh.
Retail price should be between $950 to maybe $1,100 for the top end third-party card. And these arseholes have appeared out of nowhere, and they've got 0 reviews, 0 other products on there. And they've now currently are hawking 3 of the damn things on Newegg. But literally the only one you can buy. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah, you're enabling them to be crappy by buying it at that price.
Yep.
It's if you've ever watched eBay listings from scalpers, when they don't get their insane asking price, they relist for 100 less, and then 100 less, and then eventually they sell for barely enough to cover their fees. One hopes. But I put up on the screen a minute ago the Bitcoin price, which started off the day at around 34 and a half, and it's now up to $37,566.90. So this concerns me. This concerns me.
That guy who spent a couple hundred Bitcoin on that pizza is really pissed right now.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine?
Really pissed.
I remember when Bitcoin was considered just junk and people just never cashed it in. I know there was somebody like searching through a landfill to try to find a hard drive that had some Bitcoins on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But hey, it's fleeting. This will probably drop, but who knows? When they were at 20,000, you couldn't buy a graphics card for like 8 months. Unless it was part of a bundle or if you bought a PC that had a graphics card in it.
Yeah. But isn't Bitcoin still so tough on even this new generation of GPUs that ASICs are still just better?
I hear the
Ethereum though is still pretty good with GPUs, and that's been going up in price as well.
Yes.
I'm not sure that the algorithm runs as well on AMD chips or AMD cards, actually.
No, I believe Ether was better on NVIDIA.
It was. Here's the concern though that I have is that when BTC goes up, altcoins go up. It always happens. And look at
Dogecoin.
Look at Ether right now. It's at 12. I looked at this the other day and I couldn't believe it was at 900. Now it's at 12. It was at around 500 just a month ago.
It's like 1997 all over again.
Yeah.
It's a bubble.
But don't worry, the bubbles will never burst. They last forever.
They never do. Yep.
All right. That's depressing, but I feel like we've seen this before. I mean, we have to learn from the past. And we saw what happened the last time. People realized, oh, I can easily just like turn on this little application and I get money every day. They're going to buy up all the cards.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to mention that this is the perfect time for me, especially on availability, that I was not the first person to actually say the phrase or the word Micro Center. I was not the first person. In the chat,
Fake news.
YouTube chat, Toilet Bug, Micro Center. It's kind of low too, is what you said.
Yeah, but you're the first one on the podcast to talk about it, though.
True, but
Again.
I think that was actually part of my thing. I have to. It's kind of like part of my contract. Mirror's actually triggered. So yeah, just swing by your local Micro Center and pick up an AMD CPU. I mean, that's really all it's going to take.
You know, what would really annoy me is driving the 2.5 hours to my local Micro Center, only to find that they don't have the one that I want in stock. And I don't want to, then I'd be tempted to settle. And it's just...
Yeah, and then when you asked, it was because a guy named Brett actually ordered one and they shipped that model from that one to the other store
I
so
don't
he can
think
go
they
pick
They
it
do a
up.
store-to-store transfer. I'm sure it happens every
don't-
day.
Yeah.
You don't do that sort of thing. It's whatever you see here, pal.
Sure it is. You don't know about the back stock, the lockup in the
Plasma
back
rifle in
room.
the 30-watt range. So the next bit is I threw out a couple of what I thought were going to be interesting games outside of the Outriders shooter that we talked about earlier, coming up in 2021. So if you guys, off the top of your heads, can think of anything that you want to talk about, I threw out Halo Infinite as a potential interesting 2021 ship, and it's looking nice. And I like the Halo series myself, and I like the gameplay, and I like the concept and the storyline and all that. So I think this would be something that I would get.
Is this
Hey, guys,
fully
run it.
path traced?
That's a
I don't
multiplayer
think
map.
so.
It looks great.
Somebody just said in chat, Battlefield 6 is coming. That'd be another good one in 2021 if they get done in 2021. I don't know how far along
I
they
thought
are.
they were back to Battlefield 1 now.
Oh, they're going to reset?
Like the word one instead of one. Or
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 10 years since Elder Scrolls 5. Yes, 6. It would be nice, but that's still like
There was a
2 years
tease.
away.
I just want to look
Unless
at
it was a tease for Elder Scrolls Online, which is
No.
more likely and
Yeah.
really frustrating.
I just want to look at one more screenshot here. Look at this. This looks
Yeah.
great. It
It
looks
does.
like Ralph McQuarrie concept art for Star Wars.
Yeah. So I'm definitely intrigued by this is Halo Infinite, just in case you didn't read the bottom left-hand
yeah,
corner.
Yeah. Let's see. Battlefield 6, is that coming? Is that what I saw?
PUBG 2.0, somebody just threw out there.
Oh, yeah.
There's another one
Yeah.
potentially in 2021.
The sequel.
Yep. If you're looking at BF6.
Yep.
Another two that I remake, and Jeremy, this remake you probably would be interested in. Two that I threw out in there was a pair of System Shocks. Do you remember them?
Backer.
Oh, you're a backer
backed.
on SS3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll cue that up here in a second. But yeah,
Which,
BF6 release date is going to be. I don't know. You're scrolling too fast.
I am scrolling too fast.
Mid to late 2021.
There you go. They might not
So,
make it.
yeah, it's coming. We'll see
might not
demos
make
of it. We'll see it at virtual E3, I'm sure. But
So yeah, that probably is not a huge chance. Maybe 50-50.
it's a
seeing that in
little
2021.
early. It's a little
I
early.
may have to let my cat out. I'll be right back because
Okay.
she's.
Let the cat out.
That's code for something. You've seen that comic. System Shock. System Shock 1 is being remade in 2021. That's that first link there. In case you guys never played this, this is a very interesting survival horror sci-fi. Yes, it's the creepiest video evil villain ever. some
They
would
got
say.
her to do it again.
That's her name is
has
Terry
re-
Brosius.
Yes. And so she's done a bunch of new recordings and updated
Oh,
recordings.
It's trippy. If you've never played a System Shock game, it's basically it was. If you ever, you have to set this the Wayback Machine for like Thief and Thief 3, and anyway, this was a sort of a different genre concept back then, and where you have to choose a different
Omen engine.
That maybe now, but I think back then it was the Thief engine. I think that was
Yeah,
Well,
pretty sure it
Omen was the Thief engine, and then they
damn, you're right.
Omen with
okay.
with System Shock.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you guys, anybody's into like atmosphere, horror, sci-fi, I mean, who isn't really?
Yeah, the monkey level in System Shock 2.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
That is just, yeah.
Yeah, if
There's
you
just
want,
a
like,
whole
a
lot
head
of holy
trip.
crap.
Yeah, this is a head trip thing. It's just a combo, great, interesting adventure, build up your character sort of game. You know, you never know what's going to be around the next corner. It's always something new. It's formulatic for only a short amount of time, and then something different happens. So the remaking System Shock 1, and then System Shock 3, which Jeremy said you were a backer of. I am really looking forward to that. They've had a lot of difficulties in sort of bringing this to fruition. It's been through a lot of different owners, funding
There's been
issues.
some huge legal bullshittery going on for a very long
That's sad.
time. Yeah.
Which is too bad.
But they're doing it. They're also totally redoing the whole cyberspace element of it to make it work, I'm going to say. Because the first iteration of it was not so good. So yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to these. I don't honestly know how much faith I have we're going to see them before the end of 2021. I like
This
to
looks
think we will.
This is SS3,
Yes.
a demo reel or video of SS3, and yeah, this is
And essentially,
freakish sci-fi
you've
horror.
got two different takes on the same game.
Yeah,
Because System Shock 3 is not so much a remake of the original nor a sequel to it, but sort of a blending of the two. And sort of say, what if we redid this with what we can do now? You know, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be hard. I mean, the System Shock and System Shock 2 were not easy games.
very difficult games.
This was
You died a
the
lot.
first time. Well, it was not so much as that. It was the first time you could lean around a corner, and you damn well wanted to lean around every corner. Different ammo types. You hear a robot
You know what the
coming
worst part
down, and
of all
you're
the System Shocks were? Can I just interrupt in here?
yes.
They were the worst designed weapons ever.
Oh God,
Because they'd
yes.
fall
they
apart
broke.
after like 17
broke.
shots.
Yep, and you had you had to keep them in repair and
Future is
finding
a horrible
ammo.
place for
Yes.
for firearms.
Yes.
They were
Not
looking
good at all.
forward to the world of 3D printed firearms, I think.
Do you want to know what I think the secret weapon of this game series was? And it's tricky, but I think
Laser
it was
rapier?
audio. No, it was audio.
Yes.
It was actually the sound effects and the way it played, especially in headphones. Because
And it was I think it was Ariel that they
You know what? I
had
think it was.
support in there.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
you could hear
like I
stuff
said, the
before you
whole
could see it.
monkey thing, where you'd
Yeah.
hear the monkeys chittering in the background.
you could
above
hear
you.
them, and you knew where they were. And they
Yep.
and the other thing is the stuff in the game sought you out. They went after you. They didn't wait for you to kind of show up and then fight you in a room. They would come after you. They knew where you were, or the intelligence would send them after you. It was scary.
Yes,
Scary, you know, it's appropriate for a survival horror game.
But no, you're absolutely right about the audio, because it and what was the old Elder Scrolls before Morrowind?
Daggerfall?
Wow, it's going back along.
Redguard.
No, well, it wasn't Redguard, was it? Good Lord.
Daggerfall.
I think it was
Arena?
Daggerfall. No, not the first Arena. Yeah, so
Oblivion.
definitely Daggerfall.
No.
It was after.
Okay.
But
No, Morrowind.
it was a thing
before
where you
Oblivion.
could hear an enemy coming, and each enemy had specific, very distinct sounds that they made. So that after playing it for a while, just the audio cue you would know, oh shit, I'm going to run the other way because I can't deal with that thing again. It's too tough. And System Shock did the same thing. You heard them coming, and you got scared.
Right. And they could hear you.
Yes.
The things in the game could hear you, and you knew that.
Yeah.
And you could tell that if you
A 20-year-old gamer is like, yeah, so what? This is what everything does. No, back then, this was new.
No one had done this before, and it was freakish.
Yes.
So, yeah, looking forward to that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Solid 2021. Looking forward to hopefully seeing that actually get released. Anybody else have a looking forward to game or really anything in 2021?
I'd like a more boring year.
That would be okay.
All right.
That would be
Tamp
okay.
down the excitement.
Yeah.
Relaxing.
Curious to see how Subnautica Below Zero turns out.
Oh, yeah.
Taking a couple of peeks at it. It's not finished yet, but it looks interesting. And the first one was quite absorbing for a while.
I only
All right.
played Subnautica for a few hours. Enjoyed it, though. I'd like to get back to it sometime.
It gets more terrifying.
I feel like this is a return of the sort of sleepy style podcast. You can listen to this on your, as you drift off. Listen to Brett and his gentle.
Don't
gentle
drive to
tones.
this.
No.
Don't drive to this. Don't drive.
Where's a party popper when I need one?
Yeah. Hey,
Sebastian,
Yeah, I was about ready to
about
scream
the-
into my microphone, and that
I was tempting.
Sebastian, you were talking about virtual CES.
yeah,
a while
it's
ago.
coming. January 11 through 14. They says we are CES ready. It's all digital this year, which I imagine means that maybe certain things that would have been shown might not be shown. A lot of companies are going to probably do their own little events. Because why not? Why would you have a booth at Virtual CES when you could host your own online event?
Yeah, right on top of each other. Why not?
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of conflicting event timings. I
And
think.
we're starting to get a little bit of pre-event material. We might get a little bit more. So, some players are already trying to get out in front, making sure that they get coverage.
Indeed. Well, we'll hear all about it next week. I don't know if we'll have a
will.
show next week. We used to do either take the week off or do a show from CES. So we'll see. I mean, we're all working from home, so we could still do a show, but it depends on what the CES workload looks like, I guess. Although, really, by the time the show starts, we've pretty much already heard about everything, and everything's already been announced. So, I think...
Unless we went on live at the same time as one of the other events and did one of those like Statler and Waldorf sort of things and like commented on it as they were giving their live presentation.
We could always do that. I think the first major event that you mentioned earlier was somebody mentioned the NVIDIA thing on the 12th.
AMD's doing a half hour.
Are they?
I saw it. Yeah, let me scroll back here. Someone will chime in as to when it is because I just saw it in the Discord. Somebody mentioned it.
Yeah, gotta give equal time. If we're gonna do NVIDIA, we gotta do AMD.
Yeah.
And then, find if Intel's doing a thing. So, upcoming stuff. I saw on the list here. Reviews coming up. You've got cases, PSUs, Z490 boards for 10th and 11th gen.
Yeah,
all
I've got
in
a
the
new case
pipeline.
in. I've got some PSUs are going to get sent to me that won't be released until February. Nice new case that people are going to be probably wanting to move to. The previous generation was talked about quite a lot, and held up as an example of something that was good. So I have the new generation of a case that a lot of people like that I'm going to be reviewing. PSUs that are coming up, and yeah, Z490 boards. I have at least one Z490 board that is looking like it should be a very reasonable board to host both 10th and 11th generation Intel chips. So yeah, that's what I got. What do you guys got? I hear somebody's got a Merc card that they're looking to review. I can't remember.
Got a
who it is.
Merkin that
Merc.
no.
Merc.
Yeah, that pair of headphones, a tough armor thing, and I think that's about it. I mean, I bought that 5600X myself, so I mean, it's not like I have to review it. I mean, it probably should go through some stuff, but yeah, no, it's. I thought I'd get more done last week, but no, No.
I finally took this out of the
what do you got
box.
What do you got there?
I'm
What's in
working
the
on
box?
this.
What's in the
Sugo
box?
15. I got the silver one. The box shows
Is there
the
a hole in the
silver
box?
and the black one, but I got the silver. It's pretty nice. Like so far, it can be put in more than one orientation. It looks like a bigger N-Case M1 kind of. So it's perforated on 3 sides, and it's aluminum, and it seems really well made. So that's the Silverstone Sugo 15, which I am working on currently on top of a bunch of other projects that are just in a state of... I left off at Christmas, and then I haven't picked them back up. So I'm like picking up the pieces. Like, where was I with this one? Do I have the charts made for that one? So there's stuff coming. But
That brushed aluminum looks nice. Classy.
It is very nice. It's more silver than I was expecting. So if you get the silver, it's very silver. It's shiny. But you probably would be getting the black one if you like more muted colors anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. Unless anybody has anything
what else you
else.
got?
Oh wait, no, picks of the week. What am I saying?
Oh yeah,
It's time for picks of the week. Let's raise the energy level again. I'll drink some sugar-free Powerade real quick.
Powerade.
Make this interesting.
I guess I'll go with my pick of the week. You know what? With life is fun as it has been as of late. This has been a nice little thing. If you have Apple TV, watch Ted Lasso. If you don't have Apple TV, maybe sign up for the free trial and give it a go. But it's nothing deep, but it's funny and it's not depressing. So there you have it. Been enjoying watching it.
Seeing as how Man City just beat Man U 2-0 today in Carabao Cup, I'm a little upset by it, but yeah.
I see. But yeah, can't be too bad.
Josh, even those hairstyles are upbeat in that clip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's got hair, pretty much. Yeah. But yeah. It's fun.
You know what else is fun? Thermal paste.
Oh my gosh, thermal paste. Oh, so much fun. At parties. Thermal paste is really
it's a stupidly good deal, and I didn't really have much to go with.
What's the deal here? Is this a multiple quantity situation?
No, it's just $8 or $9.
That's good.
Like, generally, if you're getting the name brand stuff, not the, this is technically thermal paste.
How many ounces?
Some.
A few.
Does it say? I mean,
it doesn't actually say. It's a syringe full.
I pay around this for the Noctua stuff, I think. Somewhere around $8.
And to be honest, don't ever pay $38 for it. That's just freaking stupid.
I don't understand.
But usually it's $14 to $20.
Oh wait, is this Canadian though? This is Canadian.
Yes, this is specifically Canadian.
Oh, so this would be like $5 for me.
Is this the direct injectable thermal paste, or is this topical use? I always
is something that you can decide for yourself as a responsible adult.
It's between you and your doctor. I understand. Okay.
Brett's pick interests me strangely. This looks highly useful.
It is if you want to get extremely close to things, say, and you do. I know what you mean. This allows you, and look at the different sizes for different fitments that these lenses come in.
And we can go back to the previous pick and talk about the usage and being able to see that usage close up.
Very, very close, extremely close. So when you're trying to take pictures of, like if you really want to get really close to, well, not necessarily. Not necessarily, Josh. I'm talking about like technology things like motherboards, CPUs, or whatever. So if you want to take an interesting close-up picture of something, then these lenses are very handy to have. Then they come in a variety of fitment sizes, all the way from down to 37, all the way up to 82 millimeters. And so a little bit of connectivity for every camera. I have a set right here, actually. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to hold it up to my camera.
Hey, look, it's magnifying. It's doing its job.
It's magic.
There's some spots in the lens. So this is a 52 because that was one that I put on there. This is a +4.
It's not focusing on
not that it matters. Yeah. Not that it matters. But anyway, it works really well if you want to take a camera that you're inside. Now my camera's out of focus. If you want to take a camera that's you're inside what's called a circle of confusion, which means that you're too close to something and it can't focus anymore, this actually lends an additional close focus capacity or capability to a camera. So if you want to get ridiculously close to something and use the full sampling width of the camera, these type of lenses come in handy. And they're only like $16, and they come with this little cool little camera, little lens holder.
It looks like a roll of old film.
It is, but it's actually got this sort of measuring thing inside of it for measuring the sizes of different lenses. So you can stick them on there, and you can see if does this fit that? And I don't know, you can store different lenses in there.
But by the time you have that, isn't it too late? You've already bought the wrong size.
It is. You've already got the wrong size. And this isn't the right one.
Well, that's why it didn't work.
Anyway. Yeah, so this is actually something I'm putting on this camera here. So
with the giant, oversized, not compensating at all lens, yes.
Yeah, it's not a compensating. I'm not compensating for anything. Why would you?
That's why you always have to pull it out on the stream.
Did I say that? Did I say pull it out on the stream?
Okay, now it's flying past the camera. Audio listeners, you are missing nothing.
No, you're actually not missing out.
My pick.
Live in blissful ignorance.
You're welcome. Oh, yeah, you have a pick?
I have a pick. So this is something called the RG351P. Now, the RG350 and especially the 350M are highly regarded handheld retro gaming systems, they're called. Emulation stations, essentially. And this is in a variety of colors. It comes in white, black, and this sort of Game Boy Advance retro purple color. And it's just one of the many handheld things. This is from a company called Anbernic that makes really good stuff from the video reviews I've watched. Did a lot of research about this and ended up deciding to get this one because it's a perfect upscale of Game Boy Advance. And I have always regretted selling my Game Boy Micro, which was that really small Game Boy Advance that Nintendo put out. And I had one. And I never used it. And I took it out of the closet one day. I'm like, I should see what these are going for on eBay. And I sold it. I never should have done it because now they sell for 2 and 3 times what I sold mine for. But the screen was really small. That was one of the reasons I never used it. It has I don't know how big the screen was. It was like 2 inches. But this has a 3.5-inch screen, and it's exactly 2x the resolution of a Game Boy Advance. So that's what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to play Tactics Ogre and Final Fantasy Tactics Advance and whatever else I want on this thing. So that's my pick. It's $100.
I'm taking mine back. I didn't realize you could buy these in 5-gallon pails.
Wait, where's the link? I want to see a pail of Tim.
5-gallon pail, thermal mastic heat transfer compound.
Dog?
My dog has a Christmas tree ornament in its mouth. The puppy.
Perfect.
Where's my
glass?
wife? No, it's cheap plastic, but it's still not great for her.
No. It's not tinsel.
Is this the stuff? Well, this is
Propylene glycol.
No,
that
that's
can't be right. I searched for
Just click the bloody link.
5-gallon heat compound. I guess I should have used more. Wait, here's a tub of super lube.
There's
5
really going
gallons of
5 gallons of super lube, 5 gallons of mineral oil,
$145.
5 gallons of Tim.
My gosh,
I'm
it's available at Lowe's. Lowe's even.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
not
some
even at your
serious
local pharmacy.
industrial heat sink compound.
Well, it extends the life of sensitive components, Josh. Sensitive parts.
Like
Yeah, exactly.
the
Nubbins.
electrodes of aluminum molten
That's right.
furnaces. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably.
Anyway,
That's not where I would smear it, but yes. All right. I think that's it. We will possibly talk to you guys next week. We'll keep you updated. Remember, pcpro.com/subscribe to find out when we go live for things like this podcast session. And Brett and I, and whoever else wants to be involved, we're going to be doing some kind of a retro thing soon. I think it would be easier to just do a live stream first and kind of gauge interest and see how that goes.
Sure.
It could be like a show and tell And you have far more interesting stuff than I do, so maybe
No,
it'll be
I
mostly.
don't, no.
I have a lot of 1990s PC like DOS era hardware. I don't have
It's some Mac stuff.
I don't have the Amiga stuff that you have. That's really interesting to me.
I do have that. I have a couple of those. Yep.
So anyway, look for that in the nearish future. But until next time, thanks for listening and or watching, and we will talk to you guys
Thanks.
soon.
Good night, all.
What am I doing? I'm prostituting myself for you guys. All for you.
Yeah,
I know.
and we appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah, well, I guess there are worse gigs.